Hey guys, I am Sean from Recruit CRM. Today we have a lot of our friends here, so hello to you. Before we talk about the topic of the day, which is AI and automation to help drive efficiency for recruiting firms, we want to tell you a little bit about us so you know who's talking to you about this stuff and why we care, right? So I'm one of the founders of Recruit CRM. Recruitment has been something that's personal to me since I was 4 years old. Dad worked in recruiting and staffing at Randstad since I was 4. This is the only industry we've ever known, right? So all our friends are in recruitment. Our family friends started recruiting businesses. And this is sort of the only business we've been around, right? So some people grew up around stores. I grew up around recruiting entrepreneurs and recruiting businesses, which is sort of what led us to building a recruiting technology company. Right, so a little bit about us. This is our first Expo. We've been completely remote as a team, so we've had to use a lot of the tools we talk about from the time we started this company. We started 8 years ago. We're a team of over 200 people. We serve 1,300 customers across 100 countries, and we've been doing all of this remotely. Our team is across 70 cities, right? So we don't have a physical office, and we've been able to get to this scale without ever physically having a workspace. So we meet remotely for 1 week every year as a team. We fly everyone over from across 5 continents where our team is, and we get them together, right? So that helps in building a global business. What do we help recruiting firms do? We help them grow faster, obviously. We help them automate their workflows and improve efficiency, right? Which is sort of the topic of this talk today, right? How do we help you change efficiencies? So one quick sales plug. If you compare us head-to-head with any of the companies out here, right, whether the big one that you see like this big hoarding for, or any of the other ones on Google, on Capterra, on G2, you will see us ranked higher than they are with hundreds of user testimonials and videos. And a lot of it is because we help these businesses automate their entire workflow. And we don't just give you tools to do it, we actually help you set up automation. So let's talk about what AI can sort of help you do, right? So let's deep dive into AI and automation. This is going to be a quick talk. We're going to be talking for about 10 minutes, and if allowed, we'll do a little bit of Q&A at the end. So what can you use AI for? The first thing is to parse CVs, right? A lot of recruitment agencies make candidates fill their own information in application forms. So a lot of you have application forms. Someone goes to your website or on a job board, and if an Indeed apply isn't available, you literally make people fill up their name, their email, their phone number, and then upload a CV that has all of that same information in it. So the first thing you need to do, whether you use our tool or any of the tools here, is you need to figure out how you can set up a system where somebody can just drop a CV and they're basically auto-applying just off of that CV, and you don't have to make them do more data entry. That's going to help you drive up conversions by a good 30 to 50% in our experience of people hitting your form to actually coming in as applicants. The next thing we want to talk about is branding. This is super important, especially for contingent recruiting firms. So if you're a recruiting firm that does contingent recruitment, where you're not charging any money up front, and you're making all of the money post-placement, a big problem is people stealing your data. You're sending people CVs and candidates, and maybe 5 or 10% of your clients or prospective clients are just calling the same candidate 3 or 4 or 5 months later, hiring them, and not giving you a fee. And that's a big problem because you're spending a lot of time and effort, and that time and effort's not appreciated. So we've spent a lot of time building tools, or you can, again, use any tools that are available online, to use AI to recraft CVs and remove the information that you don't want your clients to have up front, whether those are personal phone numbers, personal identifiable information, and so on. Another thing that's important in saving time is essentially using AI to rank candidates. So you need to figure out how you can use tools. Now, everything I'm showing you, we do, but a lot of our friends here also do, right? So irrespective of which tool you use, make sure you're looking at these things because they save a lot of time. So a key thing to figure out is, can you use AI and tools to find yourself recommendations? You might spend 10 hours on a search project doing recruiting, finding 5 or 10 quality candidates. Now, can you use AI and automation to basically select a candidate and say, can you show me 10 or 20 or 50 more candidates in my database like this person? So you don't have a human going through CVs one by one, but you have a tool that basically tells you, here are 50 people that are 70% like the first one. There's tools available to do this. We do this with our friends at TextKernel. Their tech is plugged into Recruit CRM. They had a talk earlier. So when you're using Recruit CRM, you just add a CV in, and we're able to show you other CVs in your database that are like that person. And the next big, this is supremely important, is in 2024 and beyond, no human being should ever have to write an email starting with, "Hi, Brian. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?" Today, GPT is openly available. We have plugged that into our product. Again, a lot of our competitors have done the same. You need tools that help you automatically write emails and messages, take notes for you, take call logs for you, where you can basically just go in and either type a prompt or even voice a prompt. Write Brian an email to have him consider a new job because he's been at his current one for 4 years and not gotten promoted, or there's other opportunities available. And being able to just say a couple sentences and having an email that would normally take 5 minutes to write being auto-created. Most of the people we talk to that are recruitment consultants are spending anywhere between 1 to 3 hours every day writing emails and messaging. And if you can use tools to drop that time by even just 50%, which is very easy to do, you can take back a lot of your time that can be spent talking to customers, talking to candidates. The next thing that's a complete game changer is using AI for call recording and then transcribing those calls. This is something that we ourselves introduced very recently. You might spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes on a screening call with a candidate or a client talking about a specific job role or talking about what that candidate wants to do in the future with their career. Now, the problem is, historically, how a recruiter would work is you would have your phone on your neck, and you'd be typing notes, or you'd be writing notes, or you'd try to record the call. And now this takes a lot of effort, and it distracts you from the actual conversation you're having in the moment. A lot of you will realize it's very difficult to be speaking to someone and having a high-quality conversation and also taking notes at the same time. So what ends up happening is people don't take notes. They just have a call, and after the call, they write a sentence or two, maybe in a CRM, maybe on Excel, maybe on Notepad. And the problem there is, when you're going back 2 weeks in, a month in, or 6 months in, you have no clue what you talked about, right? You have no clue why a candidate rejected you, why a candidate did not come to an interview. You have no clue what a client wanted. So again, this tool has been made possible because of a combination of a bunch of tech. Call recording tools, transcription tools, and GPT that has been made available very recently. So one of the big things we do is when you make a phone call, either using your mobile app with us or the web app, you're on your computer using it, we allow you to not just call using the app, we record every word spoken on the call. So if you have a 30-minute call, we'll have an audio recording of the 30 minutes. We'll transcribe every word spoken on the call, but then we will have GPT summarize the key points of the call, action items after the call, and other things you can do. And that completely saves the day because you convert like a 30-minute call into 2 paragraphs. And you never have to physically take a pen out or start typing on a keyboard, which again saves a lot of time. Another issue we've seen with recruiting firms as they grow is a recruiting business starts out with a super passionate founder or two getting together, saying they'll do things themselves differently from the way they worked at their previous agency or somewhere they worked. And they do a great job, and then when they're ready to scale, they hire people. But the more people you hire, the harder it is to standardize and train people to have high standards in email communication, having the right grammar, saying the right things, not writing emails in a way that sound offensive to the person that's reading them, which is pretty common. I'm sure a lot of you have had situations where someone's read one of your emails, they don't quite feel the context you've written in it, and they're offended by what you have said, right? And sometimes they tell you about the way they've been offended, and sometimes they just stop talking to you. This happens, the larger your firm, the more likely this is to happen. And so what we recommend doing is not just setting up email templates, but using AI tools to actually ask AI, ask GPT, to make email messages and standardized communication more friendly. So you can actually write a message or have AI write a message for you, and then you can give it prompts to make it more friendly. So the language used is more friendly, it finishes on a friendly note, and this is really easy to do. It's just a couple prompts. It's literally you turning the voice on and saying, please make the email more friendly, remove anything that might be perceived as offensive, right? And another thing, this is the AI assist and Copilot basically going further. When you're actually taking the time to write notes after you talk to someone, you might just want to tell AI to turn that thick paragraph you wrote into bullet points, remove things that don't make sense, so it's just easy to read at a glance, so you don't have to spend time reading text, right? And again, all of these tools have been made possible because of the move in AI by GPT. So GPT has again been made available very recently. A lot of you have used ChatGPT. The only issue with ChatGPT today is it's trained on a general use case. People are using it to do school assignments, people are using it to recruit, people are using it to sell. And second, it's still an extra step to go out from whatever tool you're using, go to GPT, pay £20 for a premium subscription, copy and paste a prompt, save it, you get a response, you copy it, and you put it back into your system. So what we have done is we've integrated with OpenAI and just brought it into the tool. So wherever you might need GPT, there's just a button that pops up that asks you to do a voice prompt or a text prompt to get that data out. Now, the next thing I'm about to talk about is what we're most excited about, and I have to explain this a little bit. When we say the word workflow automation, what does it mean? There's a lot of stuff you do today, especially around coordinating with other colleagues across other departments, that require you to copy-paste stuff in a way that a machine could do. For example, you might have a situation where every time a placement is made, you are physically going and either typing a text message, a Teams message, or an email to someone in accounting and telling them, please raise an invoice for £12,000 with this person. Or every time someone is sending you an email, you're manually copying it and pasting it in. Or every time a client is signing up, you're having to physically go into a DocuSign or an email signature tool to create a contract or use a template to create a contract. So you're basically doing a lot of these things manually. Workflow automation is about setting up integrations within the tools you use and within the single CRM maybe you use, and also the other tools you use, so you don't have to do things manually. So this is just a sample workflow we have for one of our customers, where if a candidate is stuck in a hiring stage for more than 4 days, we automatically notify a user that actually put them in that job and that person's manager by text message, via email, or by Slack, if you use Slack or Microsoft Teams. So let me give you an example. You could set up an automation that says, every time we move a candidate to interview, once the interview is over, basically wait for a day and send them an email and send them a client an email and say, what was your experience with that interview like? You never have to manually do this. Once you set this up, every time an interview happens, the system will automatically send those emails out. Whenever someone responds to those emails, we could send you a text message that says, someone responded to your feedback form on interview and said it was great or it wasn't great. And you can also filter it out so that when someone says it's great, it just comes into your inbox. When someone says they had a horrible experience, it sends you a text and sends you an email so you can react faster. You can set up automations that say, whenever someone fills like a Google form for registration on your website or on WhatsApp that you might have sent, automatically create a candidate. And if a candidate exists in your database, update that candidate. You can do all sorts of automations even within the platform or other tools you use. You could also set up automations that say, when you make a successful placement, create a deal to track a certain amount of revenue and attribute it to different colleagues on your team based on the industry the job is from. Now this stuff is really complicated, right? You look at it and it's like if and but, and it looks like computer science. But what we figured out is instead of going to our customers or users and telling them, hey, here's an automation platform, now hire like an IT person to figure this out, we just give you an automation consultant for free. One of my colleagues is actually somewhere here. He's waving at you right from there. Yeah. So his name is Sahil, and what Sahil does, and this is Sahil's job, right? This is his full-time job. He has no other job. Sahil works with every new customer that we onboard and asks them, what's the work you're doing every day that's manual that we could automate? And then they tell him what it is. And then if it involves a tool that's not Recruit CRM, he says, OK, can you give me the password to the other tools? And then literally 3-4 days later, you get a message that says, all your automations have been set up. Check out the workflow and the rules. Does this make sense? Start. And Louis here can probably attest to that. He's one of our customers, and he's worked with Sahil to set up these automations, right? And these add a lot of value, right? So you're literally spending $50 to automate thousands of pounds worth of hours. Because another fun experience, right after this expo, I and Sahil are flying to Dublin, Ireland, because one of our customers there, they're a 50-person team, Sahil set 45 such automations for them over 2 months. And they feel like they save about 250 hours per week because they save 5 hours a consultant doing manual data entry, commission emails, and so on. So they loved him so much, they're basically flying him over to take him out for drinks to thank him, basically. And that's what we're doing next. Now, what can we integrate with? So these are some of the tools we can integrate with outside of our, obviously, automations within our tools. The key is, if you don't see one of the tool you use here, our automation platform has an open-ended architecture. What the hell does that mean? That means if you pick up any tool here or on the internet that has an API, meaning it's open and they allow you to connect to other tools, we will build integrations for you at no cost. So you just come to us and you tell us, I have this tool. Can you connect it to the CRM to automatically do X, Y, Z? And we'll just do it for you. Now, there's also some other stuff that we talk about, which is basically batching. So if you want to do analytics, we can basically say every 2 hours, take all the data in your CRM and push them into Power BI. And we can do that for like £2 a month for your entire company, right? Because that's how cheap it is to batch automate a lot of these tasks. And then you're also able to go in as a business owner and look at the CRM you're using. And you're able to look at all the other tools you use and what automations do you have and what does your business workflow look like. Now, when you're a 1 or 2 person business, this is not as important. But as you get bigger and bigger, you want to know, what are the tools I use? How are they connected to each other? And how can I leverage tech more to just save more time and energy? Now, these are just examples of things that you could trigger automations on. So when you're doing recruiting and you're moving candidates across different stages, you could set up automations to send them notifications. You could publish jobs on job boards. If jobs have been around for more than 10 days and nothing has happened, you could say automatically post it to our Facebook page or LinkedIn page. You could do the same thing for revenue. When a deal gets to a certain stage, you could automatically send a contract from a contract template in DocuSign or in Adobe Sign to a client. When they sign it, it comes back into their client record. When you win a deal, you can automatically send an invoice to a client so that they get that data back. And the great thing is there's no human error. So if someone's on vacation, the job doesn't stop because the bot is just doing this for you in the background. And now, again, this is we talked about this earlier, but the key is if you want to work with us on this, you don't need to know any tech. You don't need to sign a long-term contract. You just come in, do a free trial with us. We will show you how you can set up all of the automations. We will set them up for you. And if it works, then you start working with us. And again, they're included in your subscription. And every Wednesday, twice a day, we run an automation workshop that's open to the public. So if you just want to learn about automation, you don't even need to buy our tool. Just come in and tell us you want to look and learn about automation and how it can save time in recruiting firms. We'll teach you for free. And again, a lot of what we've spoken about is about outcomes and not product. A lot of people can sell you platforms, and it's easy to sell a platform. You build tech, you take a subscription fee, and you give someone the tech, and you tell them, now figure it out, or sell them a support package. Our point is, we're selling to a non-technical audience, right? Professional recruiters are not professional nerds. They're not programmers and developers. So our job isn't just to give you a tool. It is to give you a platform on which you are able to automate and also set up those automations for you and set up those AI for you and set up best practices for you. Because we work with 1,300 recruiting businesses across the world. So we've been able to see what people are doing best and basically bring that to our lowest common denominator, right? So everyone has a basic amount of automation that's available out of the box. This is some stuff our customers are saying about us. Shameless plug again. I have to do this. But again, you go online, you can read more about what people say about us. But thanks for having us. And it was great speaking today.